Baddie, baddie, shot a clock. Baddie, baddie, shot a clock. This water, though. Let's get into the video. How baddies made me closer to my spirituality. So, first of all, let's define spirituality, okay? It's loving and knowing self, period. Okay? So, with that being said, how could this or this or this make me love or know myself? And that's a good question because I know, like, off the bat, with my videos, I'm pretty sure, like, stuff, everybody's just gonna think shit is clickbaited at some point. I don't know. But no, this is not clickbait. I genuinely have developed a stronger relationship with myself because I've seen this show. Let's give some background because that's what we always have to do with outlandish, statements like that. And reasonably so, because I'm sure you're like, how does that, like, the math is not math thing? To give some background, I grew up with parents that didn't consider my opinion for anything. And they were also very religious. And one of my parents in particular was very, very quick to anger. Okay? So let's dive a little deeper into the things that I just said because all three of those things are going to make you understand me as an individual more. No, I hate when people, like, you go onto YouTube, right? And you're expecting a spiritual leader, me and others, a spiritual leader to tell you what it takes to get to where they're at, right? And a lot of these people tell you, don't listen to this type of music. Don't watch this type of television. They tell you a lot of things that you should not be doing or you're not one of us. But that's not true. Okay, the thing, if you're really a spiritual individual, you understand God will put certain things in your life to open your eyes to something that you need. Okay? And for me, it was Baddies. So let's dive into it. One, when you grow up as a child who is not able to speak for themselves, that becomes an issue when you grow up. Okay? It becomes an issue, period, because bullshit happens to everybody, okay? But how you respond when bullshit happens is very, very, very important. It's so much important that, like, it could determine whether somebody plays with you again and again and again and again. I was getting played with a lot. I was getting played with by other adults as a kid, females and males in, like, middle school and stuff like that. Like, I was just played with a lot of people because I wasn't used to speaking out or speaking for myself, okay? And this became an issue so much that I just, I was like, I can't deal with this, I'm just about to just be quiet forever, okay? I'm gonna be a fly on the wall for y'all, and I'm just not gonna insert myself because I don't know how to react when these scenarios happen. Like, I don't do anything, and I can tell me not doing anything is a problem, so I'm never gonna interact with people again because then I won't have to be in these scenarios. And you can see how it makes sense at the time, it makes sense I'm not even gonna say as a child because I'm sure there's people who are older than me who is dealing with this. It makes sense to react that way, right? Until you realize it doesn't. Okay, so I was dealing with that. I was dealing with a very, very strong Christian household. If you're in a strong Christian household, you are taught that like you're supposed to turn the other cheek in every scenario, hold your tongue, like just be like God. Okay? And that really was one of the worst piece of advice, period. And I'm not saying that what comes from the Bible is bad advice. I feel like people's interpretations of stuff like that is just like very warped, and this message has been said over and over, generation to generation to generation. Y'all need the key is discernment. You need to be able to have discernment, check, and then if it calls for it, turn the other cheek and don't do nothing, don't say anything. Pastors in that environment will have you thinking that applies to everything, in everyone, in every scenario, and it just doesn't. As I grew up, I realized that a part of like, loving yourself is getting into conflict. Like, y'all be so scared of getting into conflict. Christians be so scared of getting into conflict. My parents were so scared of getting into conflict, like for various reasons. We're not here to judge nobody, but that's not what I needed. When you're a child who doesn't even get to speak up, and now I'm not even supposed to be in no conflict. No, there are scenarios where you are to stand up for yourself, okay? You have no idea how healing it can be, to stand up for yourself, okay? I don't promote violence. I don't not promote violence, okay? What? I don't not promote violence, okay? What I promote is self-love, period. Whatever that is for you, and don't do too much, okay? But I promote self-love because when I started like checking people, when I started cussing people out, when I grabbed up somebody, that was the most refreshing. Those were one of the most refreshing experiences of my life. Like, to be a person who was like so scared of conflict, would not speak up for themselves. When I started doing those things, it felt so good. It was so healing because you find out that a lack of doing that, and it all depends on your personality, period. But a lack of doing that can really make you like look at yourself a certain type of way. Like, why don't I care about myself enough to just do this, that, and the third? Like, why don't I care enough for myself to tell them like in a nice way, shut up, be quiet, stop talking to me. Please leave me alone. Like, I was about to say please, but you don't even have to add these little fluffer words in there to be nice. Sometimes you need to just be like, leave me alone. It's no be quiet, it's shut up. It's no talk, can we talk about this later? It's like, I'm not talking about this right now. Okay? And then the third thing that I mentioned about my upbringing was I had experienced a parent who was very, very quick to anger. And that can be traumatizing to a person. When you are introduced to confrontation in the extreme way, like my parent was overly confrontational. When you experience that, and aggressive too, when you experience that, you have it in your head that these are wrong things because it's hurting you. And so you try not to be like that at all. You assume that like that's just what comes from it. But it doesn't. There's something called self-control. Self-control and discernment. That's really most of these videos, like discernment is key. Like, really assess, okay? Because you'll see in a lot of households, children, adults, people who come from rowdy, like, home lives do not want to be rowdy. Because most times, like, it's sickening to think about. Like, it's a turn off. It's triggering. They don't want to be these things, and I didn't either. Like I said, I was born Christian, so y'all know I wasn't even watching Baddies. I wasn't allowed to, okay? I was not watching Baddies when Natalie, like the original cast, all that, when Natalie was on, all them, like, I've never seen these episodes. Like, I wasn't hip. It wasn't until maybe, like, I want to say it was pretty recent. Like, it's 2024. I didn't watch Baddies or Bad Girls Club at the time until 2021. I was 21. This was 3 years ago. And when I watched it, like, there's an initial view of, like, rowdiness, ghetto-ness. And trust me, there is some. To me, I had witnessed for the first time in my life people standing up for themselves, people being on shit, people not being afraid to whip somebody's ass, okay? Not the thought that if the thought that they would lose was not even in their head. They want to go against two people, they're going against two people. These women are fearless, period. And when you are a young woman and you're so used to being in fear with people, having social fear, because that's what we going to call it, social fear, and then you see these women, that's going to turn you into a problem in a good way. But that's going to turn you into a problem, and it did with me. Again, I feel like everything doesn't, require violence. In fact, in the show, there's times where the women don't even resort to violence. They will just clock you. Like, they'll check people on, what their issue is. And that's what I realized I needed more of. It's so funny because the concept of this video literally dawned upon me about 2 days ago. For a long time, I watched Bad Girls Club, like I said, and then I went into this period of spirituality. So I was brainwashed by the whoop-de-woos, and I just was, like, isolating myself from taking part in certain things. And some of the things were valid, and some of the things, like, were not valid, because I ended up learning some shit from them. And so I got back into watching Baddies after my whole spiritual awakening, this year actually. And 2 days ago, which was Friday, I'm over here like, all right, Sunday's coming up. I was reminded about the episode that's coming on Sunday. I was like, like, damn, I shouldn't be watching this. Like, this is so low vibrational. I shouldn't be watching so low vibrational. I shouldn't be watching this. Like, and then I sat and I thought about it. I was like, well, why? Why can't I watch this? And I understand, you emulate, like, watch what you feed yourself, because you emulate behavior of others. But that fire is what I need. Growing up how I did, that fire from all these ladies is what I need to see. Period. Okay? Because there is nothing non-feminine, non-loving, non-spiritual about standing up for yourself. There's nothing like all the being a baddie checks all those boxes. It comes with those things. And now y'all know there's the cases where people are just ratchet as hell, have no manners, period. Like they just fighting the fight. I'm not talking about these women, okay? I'm not talking about them. You know who I'm talking about, the people who be played with on the show. Okay? I'm not talking about bullies. I'm talking about the people who were played with. Period. I'm here to encourage you to two things. If you're a person who has dealt with the stuff like I dealt with in my childhood, watch the show. You will become a stronger individual. Period. Watch the show. Because at the end of the day, if you are grown, even if you're not grown, you are your own person. Do not copy anybody. But if you are attracted to something, sit and think like, well, why am I attracted to this? And I was attracted to it because this was something that I wanted for myself, period. The biggest message from this, take what people say with a grain of salt, okay? I think everybody is worth listening to, but nobody is worth repeating, okay? There's a lesson, real spirituality is a lesson in everything. It's your choice on how you behave regardless of what you consume, period. Okay? All those things that you think that you're not supposed to be doing because your pastor says it, because your mom says it, okay? Because Spiritual Whoop-De-Woo on YouTube says it, really sit and think if that applies to you, okay? But that is how Baddies brought me closer to my spirituality. I want you to comment, and this is for guys or girls, I want you to comment at what point you've realized that you were a baddie, because you don't even have to watch the show to know. But at what point did you realize, like, okay, like, I'm a baddie for real. I'm a baddie. Like, comment, subscribe, share this video with somebody you feel like will enjoy it, and I'm gonna see you guys on the next video. Mwah. Baddie, baddie, shot a clap. Baddie, baddie, shot a clap. Baddie, baddie, shot a clap.